Hi, Cancer. This is what you don't see for 2021. So, we're going to look at the transits of 2021. We're going to talk about what's going on. These are the astrology transits that actually aren't being talked about as much. And so, we're going to look at some certain role players, one of them being the Black Moon Lilith, okay? And the transit of Black Moon Lilith, as well as Chiron. We'll look at the North nodes, the South node, of course, and we'll also take a look at Saturn with Jupiter and Saturn square Uranus. We'll also be looking at Saturn trine the North node. So these are all the transits that we'll be breaking down in this video. We're going to show you what these energies are symbolizing for you, and also how to transmute this energy so you can see where the tendencies are going to be, and then have really the sovereignty, the free will to make with it what you want with it. Okay, so Cancer, we're looking at Chiron and Aries. Chiron's energy is about being the wounded healer. Okay, this idea, this quote, is about having something that kind of hurts you, that pretty much feels like a wound that can never be healed, but you're able to help this with other people. So because you have experienced something or have this like sadness or something that sometimes we all kind of carry around, some of us repress it, some of us try to change it, but we're always dealing with something, and that's Chiron. It's very much so connected to children, so it's very much connected to childhood wounds. And these are typically the wounds that we carry for life. Now, in your astrology chart, you are born with Chiron in a certain position, but Chiron is also always moving. So the transit of Chiron in 2021 kind of gives you like this phase that you're going through in dealing with some sort of wound that could be connected to childhood. So it's kind of moving. Chiron and Aries, everyone globally is experiencing this with identity and discovering who they really are. Really having the ability to change their personalities even. So for you, this is happening in the area that has to do with your career. And Chiron is about feeling a little insecure about it. And this area is about being out in the public eye. So there could be something here where, you know, from a childhood wound, you may be experiencing something where you were in the public eye or in front of other people, and it, caused you to interact with being in the public eye in a certain way. And this transit in Aries is also going to look at your, just your vitality, looking at your impulsiveness, and all of these things can actually be more on the surface, be more available for other people to see, which gives you the opportunity to transmute this energy and to be vulnerable in the eye of others, to know that people are judgmental, critical, mean, hurtful, but also to know that there's a whole crowd of people that need to hear your story, that need to know like what it is that you specifically did to overcome certain situations. And even on a conscious level or a non-conscious level, this is playing itself out. So now you have this ability, this knowledge to understand that when you are maybe embarrassed or dealing with some sort of, situation where a lot of people are going to see you, that you go into it knowing that it is that type of temperature that you're not used to, that you're not comfortable with, but could be useful to others. And through this process of being exposed to others, you begin to heal on your own level. You begin to see who you really are. And sometimes through the mirror of a crowd or of an audience or viewers, subscribers, followers, that you can discover that for yourself. So this is Chiron and Aries. This could be also very connected to your body, your physical body. People may be commenting a lot on your physical body or making remarks about it, because Aries is ruler of like the muscular system. Okay, so moving on, we have Lilith in Uranus. Oh, sorry, Lilith and Uranus. Lilith and Uranus. So Lilith is an energy that is tied to a point in the sky that is connected to the darker side of the moon. Okay. And so we calculate this energy, we meaning the real astrology mathematicians out there, create this equation to discover Lilith, which is a shadow energy. And that's how we interpret it in astrology. Tied to the history of Lilith, this is about being chaotic. It's about feeling like an outcast. It's about being pushed aside. It's about being sexually liberated. And so where we find Lilith when Lilith is transiting, you're going through a phase of sexual liberation through the likes of Taurus, which is tied to your sensualities, right? The foods that you like to eat, the mouth, the tongue, the taste of things, tied to the feeling of things, different materials, tied to what you hear, tied to what you smell, all of your senses. So Lilith is extremely sensitive, and where we find Lilith and Taurus, our bodies are very sensitive, excited, evoked, provoked into sexual hedonism almost. Being in certain places or dealing with certain situations or certain people. So for you, Cancer, this is being tied to your 11th house. Okay, this is the area that has to do with friendships and social groups. So you may have been embodying a new, community that you're a part of. Maybe you're in a new environment where you're exposed to a lot more people, a lot more opportunity to meet and have friends, people to connect with. And there's something that's really exciting about maybe the way that you hug people, or the way that people touch you, the way that people make you feel, the sounds that they play around you, the scent of someone's perfume, or maybe there's something that you guys are all doing together that evokes the senses, in this environment. It's very, very sensual. It's very, very casual as well in the 11th house. So it's also tied to your visions for yourself, your visions of who you want to be. And I think that you can see that there's this real need to be an attractive, widely acceptedly, sensually provoking individual. That within you, there's this desire to be seen as that in a very large way, being in the 11th house. So actually 2021 is really showing you that what you don't see is that you're ready to come out like into the world in a very vivacious and new and exciting and sexually dominant way. And Lilith and Taurus is really pulling that together. Now, Lilith and Taurus is also connected to like possession. So this could be the things that you own, that you share with your friends and social circles. You could be seeing your friendships and social circles as your own possessions. You could be having situations or fights where, things belong to you amongst your friends, or your friends belong, this friend is mine, not yours, kind of situation where you find this energy. So now Lilith, this dark energy, transitions into Gemini halfway through the year in around July and August. Okay, so now things start to become even more communicative. Okay, and this also is in a place for you that has to do with tied to like the subconscious and to your dreams. So you might be channeling a lot more deep dreams that show you different shadows. You want to watch out because there's a tendency for nightmares, and Gemini also energy here could also be a tendency for insomnia. So this is a time where you really have to focus on finding that peaceful place where you can enjoy going to sleep and indulge in your dreams, because it could be a bit of a shipwreck, and you could also have the tendency to lean more into mental health instabilities and things like that. So this is a great actually energy reading to see in the forefront, because with this information you can, ride the boat now as you need it, knowing what terrain and what oceans you're about to go into. It's going to be important for you, Gemini, to work on finding something or someone you can confide in, finding something that you can channel and vent energies out to, especially as Lilith goes into Gemini. And the North Node is currently in Gemini and will be for most of the year until December when it switches. So Lilith conjunct the North Node is going to be an even more intense energy. The North Node, okay, is the point of the moon that gives us this idea of our destiny and what we're moving towards in this phase of 2021. And so for you, this is going to continue to be that dream space. So now the North Node becomes more hungry, becomes more aggressive. And it's saying like, look, I have never really ventured into this deep, dark spiritual realm before. And I'm really curious. I'm really excited to discover, like, who and what I am beyond my knowing of self, beyond my knowing of my intellect, or what I feel like I don't know. I think this has a lot to do with attacking what is stupid and what's not, really uncovering your deep need to be also a genius, to be the wisest one, or to just be always learning, always in bringing in information, but in such a different way than your atypical way. Okay, so you may be studying books, definitely, but you could also be dealing with more entities, more divinations like astrology and tarot, Reiki, psychic things could be evoked here. So this year focuses a lot on this Gemini energy. You've got Lilith that'll move there, you got the North Node that'll move there, and the eclipses will also include Sagittarius and Gemini energy. So this whole year is very built on this axis of knowledge and wisdom, okay? Now, speaking of Lilith, I know I did speak about Lilith and Uranus, but I want to talk a little bit more about that, because that's happening right in the beginning of 2021. That is a conjunction that actually spills over from the end of 2020. Lilith and Uranus is a very electrifying conjunction, because Lilith is your dark shadow. Uranus brings everything into more awareness, light, an awakening, a revelation, a shock to the system. Okay, and so for you, this is again that place of your friendships and something that's really being awakened within you and your ability to connect with people. So Uranus energy is evoking a lot of shadow to be more in the light, globally and personally for you. Okay, Cancers? Now, let's talk a little bit about the North Node in Gemini and the South Node in Sagittarius. I do have a video where I go more in depth with that, and I'll link that here. And but the North Node in Gemini, we've talked about opening your communications to the other realm. The South Node in Sagittarius is where you are letting go of like this old teaching, usually connected to father and masculine types of energies that represent fathers in your life, and maybe something that they have taught you that you have kept close to you, that you remember as a way of being, a belief or a religion or a mindset that you adhere to, that gives you a perspective on life, that keeps you available to explore and to survive. But this is something that we're kind of letting go and releasing with the South Node in Sagittarius. So that which you thought you knew to be true about how to be and operate in the world is really shifting for you. And that's actually really connected to your daily work, your daily habits, the job and the type of work that you do or that you're committed to doing, the type of work that you either volunteer or that you clock in to make money for, or you account of the work that you have done to make money for. This type of way of being is really being let go for you in 2021, and actually moving more towards your inner world, your inner exciting curiosities towards the information and the information that is being sent and given to you by higher beings, by angels, by ancestors, by elders, So this is the energy that you're moving more towards, okay, in 2021. It's a very spiritual, esoteric energy for you. Now, that's that's that North Nodal energy. Now let's move into the Great Conjunction, because that's also happening, and that is Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn and Jupiter are now in Aquarius, and they created the Great Conjunction, which is this, very pivotal transit that happens very rarely. Okay, now the Great Conjunction for you is in the area. So the Great Conjunction for you is actually happening in an area that has to do with your deep sexual, intimate affairs and relationships. This is actually a very important conjunction, because Saturn and Jupiter's energy creates a blessing and an authority once you master that energy. Saturn requires for you to be more disciplined, more investigative, more deep, more in depth with your journey, with going through some sort of transformation, a death of some sort, and a rebirth of something as well, especially with where Saturn is going to be for you, which is this area of death and rebirth, of the phoenix rising from the ashes. And so Jupiter expands this energy. So Saturn is building you up for authority, while Jupiter is expanding you. And I think this has a lot of connection to the vision that you want to become, the challenge of being more deep, and letting go of shallow thoughts, shallow logic, shallow facts, and really looking at the core of things, the root behind things. So Saturn and Jupiter will be in this very watery, deep psychological area of the sky for you. Now, Saturn and Jupiter, as they have been together, will split apart throughout 2021, and they start to create their own journeys and paths and relationships to the other planets. One of that being Saturn squaring Uranus in Taurus. And we've been talking about this energy of Uranus and Lilith and Taurus and deep sensuality. And Saturn is going to square this. So Saturn, the square energy is like, I can't see it, but it's a challenge for me because I can't see this, okay? It's like you're looking around the corner, you're on one side of the corner, and the planet is on the other side, so you can only see from one aspect. So let's talk about the aspects that you might be seeing it from, and what is it that you may not be seeing with this energy. Well, you may not overall be seeing that in order to be that vision of yourself that you want to become, that you're going to have to look at things that you have never wanted to look at before, go deeper into the taboo realm. Saturn is going to challenge you with feeling like you're an authority of something and not really being it, because you haven't really done the work to go deep into yourself and go deep into the intentions behind your actions, go deep into the psychological makeup of why you do the things that you do. Challenging Uranus and Taurus, which is in that sensual place that for you is around your friendship. So you're going to be around friends and not know why is it that you have the impulse to do the certain things that you want to do to them. And some of these impulses might be on a sexual manner. These could be something that you're exposed of if you do not see these things. So it's going to be so important to see these things. The biggest thing is to, Saturn wants to restrict. So Saturn is trying to restrict until you learn the karmic rules of sexual interactions amongst social groups and friendships. Okay, so there is something that could be great and profound here. Maybe creating a relationship where you are in a divine relationship with a friend, right? Or a group of friends, and you guys really are doing those kinds of connections. But first you have to learn the karma of that choice that you could, or that direction that you could go into. So yeah, Uranus would bring and strike things into shocking light, bringing up, a more electrified way of seeing your sensuality and what are the karmic consequences of how you express it amongst friendships. So these are things that you may not be able to see. If you're coming from the Saturn point of view, then you might be actually, it says, Aquarius, you might actually be more repressed sexually and be seeing certain types of friends maybe on the internet or networking or something like that, or seeing your friends be more sexual, be more sensual, and having a certain way about it, judgment about it, outcasted feeling about it, that is disconnecting you from what you truly want to be, which is that North Nodal and Gemini energy, which is that vision of that deep psychological, psychic, magical, powerful type of person. So that's what you're not seeing with that. If from the Uranus energy, you might be, very friendly, very sociable, very progressive, very exciting amongst your friends, but not able to see the boundaries that you need to create, not able to see the way that people are actually judging you, not able to see the fact that somebody's trying to put more enforcement upon you, somebody's trying to regulate you more. So these are things that you have to consider. And the last thing that I want to say is to leave it on a good note. Saturn is going to trine the North Node, right? And this is what I call power moves. So this is going to help you out with this whole situation. Saturn being in Aquarius, right, which is tied to that deep psychological sexual transformation, is giving a harmonious aspect to the North Node in Gemini, the thing that you're moving towards, the thing that you're becoming, which is again this deep psychologically psychic communicator to the other realms. So Saturn here will help you to build your intimacy with self, build your sacredness, your secret time, your private time, helping you to discover who you are in the darkness and be comfortable with your own darkness, with your own shadows, by tapping into the ethers, by tapping into the ancestors, by tapping into the counseling, by tapping into everything that is connected to mental stability, mental health, but also honoring the mind as being a gateway or an abyss that no one could truly understand or comprehend, not even the most genius scientists of the world. So you're tapping into superpowers or levels of your psychological makeup that you have never ventured into before. So 2021 is a very interesting year for you, Cancer. You against the world in 2021, because the energy is so airy, so gassy, and you're all up in the emotional areas of the houses. And so this is for Cancer, Sun, Rising, and Moon. I know I didn't say that in the beginning, but I hope that this will help you. I really feel for you guys. This will be a challenging year if you're really trying to be like everybody else, because everybody's going to be airy, they're going to be communicative, they're going to be logical, but you're still in this very mystical place and moving more deeper into the abyss of the oceans. Okay, love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.